All right, good evening, Leandro. Thanks for being in today's class. We're going to start now. How are you? Is everything all right?
Good evening, Luis. And yeah, I'm fine. And you?
Great, that's great to know. I'm fine as well. Thanks for asking, Leandro. Let's begin then, all right? We finished with the first part, but today we need to cover two lessons, but they are going to be very short. And mainly we're going to practice by having some conversations, or I'm going to be asking some questions, and we're going to see how you manage this, all right? So here we're going to learn, or perhaps reinforce the ideas of learning models of request. So if you read this, Leandro, only the word request, what is a request for you? How can you explain that word?
Mm, request is um uh it's a ask maybe. It's um ask something, do and a favor maybe.
Good, great. Yes, we're there. That's correct. A request is going to be like a type of petition, right? Or something that you're going to ask someone to do for you, right? So good. So to request something, you need to use a specific words, right? And you call those words models. So for example, if you have to request something, Leandro, how would you do it? For example, let's say that you don't have or yesterday, right? In the class we had yesterday, let's
Mm-hmm.
suppose that you didn't have access to the username and to your password, okay? And you had to contact management, all right? And you
Mm-hmm.
have to request for that information. So how would you do it? What is the question that you can ask them so
Uh,
that you do that?
and with can you give me the uh password for the platform?
Good. Yes, that's one option. It is
Mm-hmm.
correct. What else? What other options do you have?
Mm,
It can be the same, but you can change the word if you want. You're using the model can. What other models can you use?
um, can I don't know.
But great, you're there and you answered correctly. It's with
Mm-hmm.
can, but the thing with can is that it's usually yes more common with friends. Right? Hey, can you do that for me? Can you pass me that? So it's common, it's good. If you say that to a person also, it's going to be understandable. But some people consider that a little bit too straightforward and too informal. Okay, but again, if you go to the street, it's very likely that they are going to give you that request, right? For example, if you say, hey, can you tell me where this location is? Right? They are going to tell you that. But some
Mm-hmm.
people are going to be a little bit off when they feel that a stranger use only can. Why? Because if you know this, in Spanish you have the words right to and usted, right? But in English we don't have that word. It's only you. So it means that if you want to be polite, you have to use specific words because you don't have usted in English, right? So one way to make that formal is using more formal modals or other words, right? For example, what can be more formal than can? We are going to see that over here. Over here is going to be could or would.
Cool. Okay.
Uh-huh. Will can also be an informal, but will is very formal in only one situation. When you want to ask someone to marry you, right? When you want to get
Mm-hmm.
married with someone, you use will, right? But usually will is informal. So can and will are informal, could and would are formal, right? So that's something that you can do. You have other options, but this is important. It means that if you ask the question, could you, right? I don't remember very well. Yes, could you please give me the username and the password so that I can log in right with that on Pearson? That's going to be listened a little bit in a better way, right? Than just using can. So could
Mm-hmm.
and please, but again, it's just to know some other details. But let's read this over here, please. Yeah.
Okay. Models. We use the models of request and offers can, will, could, and would to ask for things. Make offers, invite people, and order in a restaurant. These models all have the same basic meaning, but some are more formal than others.
Great, thank you. So it means that if you use them in this context, the meaning of those models is the same, right? But as I was saying, right, some of them are going to be more formal. And again, as in English, you don't have that possibility of saying usted. You need to use those words in order at least to approach strangers, right? If you approach a stranger on the street, and usually that's going to be right an older person than you, usually, right, you have to be a little bit more formal. But again, just in that type of situation, of course, not every time, but it's good to know. So having know having that information and having all that in mind, the formula, it's something easy. Remember that with all models, sorry, you have to use the base verb, right? I can go, I could go, I must go, I should go, right? I may go, I might go, I will go. So after every model, you always use the base form, right? Very simple. And the negative form of the model is with not, right? I will not go, I cannot go, I should not, I must not. So easy, right? You must remember that. In case you don't remember, then this is a, let's say, a reinforcement. Every time you use a model, you have to use the base form of the verb. Okay, go. If you use infinitive, it's incorrect, right? It's very common. I heard that a lot. They say you must to go there, right? But that's incorrect. Why? Because must is the model, and after must, you always use only the base verb, right? Must to go is incorrect. Must going is incorrect. Must go is the only possible way, right? And it works in affirmative, negative, and interrogative form. But once again, we don't need to master the grammar here. We need to practice. So the first way to use this, Leandro, is making a request. That is the main topic. You can use these words for request. You can use will, you can use could, that is the best option. You can use can, that is not as formal, right? And you can use also would, but you have to be careful with that one, okay? You have to be sure that it's related to a request. But let's read this information, please. Let's read everything you got
there. Okay, making request. We use models of request when we ask someone to do something or when we want something. Example, will you pass me the salt? We put please after the subject or at the end of a sentence to make any request more polite. Example, could you please open the door? Can you wait a moment, please? We put not before the verb for negative request to ask someone not to do something. Would you please not smoke here? Can you not use your phone in the library?
Great. Thank you very much, Leandro. So let's only repeat these two words. Everything else is great. And then we're going to practice. How do you read these two words one more time? Remember that in this case, the E is going to become an I.
Polite.
Correct. And the last one?
Library.
But it's also I. Exactly. Library. Good.
Library.
Perfect.
Okay.
So polite and library. Great. So easy, right? This is request. So one question, for example, in class here with me, what is a request that you can ask me, Leanne? Let's imagine in any type of situation, you need something from me. Okay, how can you request that for me?
Could you answer a question?
Okay.
Answer my question?
Yes, that's correct. Could you answer my question? That's a request, right? You have a question there. Imagine that you sent a question via WhatsApp, right? I didn't read the question, and you have that question that you say is important for me to read. So you can say, right, can you please read that question and answer that for me, right? So could, can, will, all of them are correct. If you add please, it's going to be better. Not necessary. You can use could, and it's formal without please. Right? So good, that's fun. What else? Imagine that you are you're the teacher or the professor. You're in a class, So what is something that you can request your students not to do, right? And you can use these examples. What is something that you can request your students not to do, Leandro? What do you say?
Call you with a negative request? Maybe could you
Correct, it has to be
pay
negative.
attention to me, but can you not make a distraction?
Okay, good. That's correct. You can make a distraction, or also you can say get distracted. Right? Can you
Get
not
distracted.
get distracted? Good. That's perfect. So affirmative will be, could you please pay attention, as you said, right? Perfect. Or could you please not, right, talk in class? Imagine that they are, right, friends and they are talking. So good. Any of those works, right? So any type of request is going to be good. It doesn't matter if it's any type of relationship that you got with that person. It's always a good idea to try to be very formal, right? Unless you have some kind of trust with that person, then you can be informal, but it's always the good idea to have the words to be very polite, right? So good. So let's try to have some more examples. Only speaking, Leandro. I'm going to give you some situations, and you're going to try to tell me just two requests per situation. All right? So in the first situation, you are at the airport. Okay, you are at the airport. So it doesn't matter what is your job there. Imagine that you work at the airport, or you are a person traveling there, or it doesn't matter what role you have. But what is a request that you can ask at the airport? Any type of request.
Could you tell me, please? Could you please tell me the time of the arrive?
Good. The time of it. It can be arrive or arrival if it's
Arrival.
the noun. Okay, the time of arrival, or the arrival time, you can also say.
Arrival time. Okay.
Good. That's great. You're asking for information. That's one. One more, please. Also at the airport.
Okay. Well, can you tell me could you tell me where is the door number 5?
It is correct. Just one detail there. It's something we didn't see yet. We're going to see in the future. That's what we call embedded question. Okay, embedded question is two questions in one. Your first question is, could you tell me? And your second question is, where door number 5? Okay, or where is door number 5?
Where is the door?
So those are two questions. But when they are put together, the second question is not going to be in question order. It's going to be in sentence order. Okay, so the correct question is going to be, could you tell me where door number 5 is? Okay, so is is going to be at the end. All right, so let's repeat that one more time, please.
Okay, and can you tell me where the door number 5 is?
Exactly, very well, right? So you can ask separately. You can say, excuse me, where is door number 5, right? Where is door number 5? So if you say, excuse me, or something like that, it's good, right? But it's better if you ask a better question. Could you please tell me where door number 5, or where the door, it's up to you, where door number 5 is? And it's still going to be correct, but just the order is a little bit different. Right? So for example, how would you do if you want to know the location of the bathroom or the restroom? How can you ask a question to know that? Also using embedded questions as you did.
Could you tell me the location of the bathroom?
That's one possibility. Or imagine that you're asking, where is the restroom? Right? Let's say restroom, because in public places, it's more common to call it restroom. Okay, so how can you ask? The main question is, where is the restroom, or where are the restrooms? How can you ask that question with another question before?
Will you please wow, es que no sé qué otro verbo usar más de tell me. O sea, qué otro verbo usar además de tell me.
Yes, in this situation, it's okay if you repeat tell. Okay, there's not a problem. Also, you can say, could you point me? All right.
Point me.
Or walk
Okay.
me. To point something out, it means to say, right? To use the finger and say, yes, you have to go there. Okay, so can you point me out? You can say, point me out. Or even if you want the person to guide you, you can say, could you walk me to the bathroom? But that's going to be something different because he's going to join you, right? Until you find the bathroom over there. All right. But in this case, you can use tell or to point something.
Okay. Could you please point me the restaurant?
Good. Yes. Could you please point right? And you can also say, could you please point where the restaurant is, or the location of the restaurant? Exactly. One of those two, and the person is going to tell you, right? Yes, you have to go right where that way, right? And you're going to follow that path. Okay, that's great. We're going to go to the next part. But here, remember, you can ask any type of request. For example, could you please show me your ID, right? Usually you have to show your ID to board, right? Or your board pass, you have to show it, or your passport, or even, right, if you are going to carry luggage with you, right? Or do you have a suitcase or something you're going to carry with you? If you have something with you, right, you have to be weighted. And if it's more than, I don't remember, right, 50 kilograms or something like that, right, you have to pay something extra. If it's less than that, you can carry that with you, right? So there are many things that you can ask. But again, the thing here is that you have to know that you have these four options: will, can, could, and would, right? Will and can are not very formal, but they are not incorrect. If you put a please over there, or words like excuse me, right, something like that, or I don't know, or could you tell me, it's going to be better. But you need to have that variety, right? So that's the first part. Let's go to the next one. In the next one, we have answering requests. Here, this is something we're not going to practice as much because it's only how you ask, right? So if someone asks you, will you please, let's talk about the ID on the airport, right? Would you please show me your ID? Or can you please show me your ID? Could you please show me your ID? Will you please show me your ID? Right? All of them are correct. But it is advisable to answer with yes, I can and yes, I will. Even if you are asked with could. Okay, don't say yes, I could, because could is possibility. Okay, it's like saying yes, I could, but I don't know, right? It's not like you're accepting. But if you say I can, it's positive, you're accepting. If you say I will, it's positive, you're accepting. Also, in negative, it's a good idea to use only can't, right? Why? Because if you say couldn't, it's like, no, it's impossible for me, right? But you don't want to say that. You only want to say, no, sorry, yeah, I can't. And also want is not a good idea. Okay, that's why they say here. Why? Because it sounds very impolite and angry. Okay, so if someone asks you, will you please show me your ID? It's you will, but don't answer with will, right? In negative, because it's going to be too strong. It's like saying, no, I won't do it because I don't want to. Right? So again, those are just cultural things, but it's important. So I'm going to ask you some questions. Try to answer, all right, in an affirmative way or a negative way. So if I ask you this, will you please, all right, yes, let's say this, okay? Will you please send your information, your personal information until tomorrow morning?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Will you please help me move my things to my new house?
No, I can't.
Very good. Good. And something again
I'm
that you
sorry,
can do over
but
there?
I can't.
Exactly, right? It's advisable to say that, or even you can give a short explanation, right? Sorry, I don't have time right now. I can't, right? But If you're going to need time, or if you're going to need some help later on, you can count on me, right? So you can always try to make it a little bit softer, right? Because the negative, even though it's can and it's not as strong as want, it's always very direct, right? But that's good. What else? You can answer with a real answers, right? If you feel that you can do it. For example, if I say, hey, could you help me with this French text that I found? I don't know what it means.
Sorry.
One more time. It's one more question, and you need to answer affirmatively or negatively. Okay, and it's, will you please help me with this French text that I found? I don't know what it means.
Okay, and no, I can't. I don't know French.
Good. Yes. I don't know, or I don't speak. Right.
I don't speak French.
Good. That's great. And one more, the last one. Would you please? Oh yes. Would you please? Let's say yes. Lend me 500 bis until this Saturday.
No, I can't. I don't have money.
Okay, good. That's great. Okay, so that's enough, right? So if you want to answer, you say can, will, affirmative, can't, negative, but always with some extra explanation in order to be a little bit polite. Now, here that was request. Now these are offers. What is the difference between a request and an offer? In a request, someone does something for you, right? But in an offer, you want to do something for someone. Right? It's the opposite. You're going to do something for someone. And here you use mainly these two, can and could. You can use would, but only if you use like, would like. Okay, if not, it's not going to be possible to make an offer. It's going to be a little bit weird. Okay, and here you don't use will. You cannot use will here. Okay, so for offers, can, could, and would like. So let's read this to practice, please, Leandro, first.
I read?
Yes, please.
Okay. Offers. We use can and could when we offer to do things. Example, can I help you? Could we get you something to eat? We can also make offers by asking what someone would like. Would you like a soft drink?
Great, thank you very much. So it's great, right? Here we're only going to work with two examples. You're going to tell me what examples you want to give me. But again, remember that here you are the one doing something for someone, right? That's going to be very important. You have to do something for someone. So besides these examples, what are two examples that you can give me? You can use can, could, or would like. It's up to you. Just two examples.
Can I go to shop medicines? Dubai? No, buy. Shop.
Okay, good. One more time, please.
And can I? Well, I don't remember. Can I? Can I go to? Buy shop medicines. I don't know. I don't remember the verb, correct verb.
Okay, you're going to tell me now. Perhaps you can use Spanish. You're going to tell me. And remember there, you have to be clear that you are doing something for someone, right?
Okay.
In that case, it's going to be an offer. It's possible. Your example is correct, but you can say anything if you add at the end, like, for you. Okay, for example, you can say, can I buy some meat for you? All right, so you're offering something
for you,
right?
Okay.
Exactly, because if not, it's going to be like permission, right?
Okay.
It's like you're asking permission. All right, so one more time. And what is the verb that you want to use? What is, we're going to look for something simple.
Buy.
Yes, to shop. It's okay to shop. You can get
shop.
Can I get, but it depends on the verb you want to use, right? So you can say, let's repeat your example. I'm going to tell if it's okay.
Okay. Can I go to shop or buy medicines for you?
All right. Yes. Can I go and you can even use like a list of verbs. You can say, can I go and shop, right? Some
Okay.
medicines
Can
or
I
some
shop?
medicine for you.
Okay.
Exactly. You can use
Okay.
also directly the word or the verb shop, right? Can I
Okay.
shop or buy those medicines, right, for you? It means that you're offering some help, right? And that's correct. One more, please. Only one
Um, could I mm, could I get um be- could I get you uh, something to work? I don't know.
Yes, it's also possible. You
Mm-hmm.
let's say that you have someone there and that person wants to do something, an activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's bored, something like that. Right? And you can offer, right, something like that, right? Can I get you something to work on? It means you're going to give that person an activity so that well, he or she can work on that activity. Okay, it's possible. Anything that can be offered is correct. Okay, it's hard to think of examples because
Mm-hmm.
we are not offering things like that every time, right? We are not saying, hey, can I help you every time? It's possible. Perhaps that's a must come, right? Can I
Mm-hmm.
help you with something? But it's more common if you are working in a place, right, like that, like working as a waiter or a waitress, and you can offer help, right? But again, it's something that we need to know. Would you like also when you have some guests, right? When you have a visit, let's say at home, and you have to offer them something, right? Would you
Mm-hmm.
like something to drink? Would you like something to eat? Or would you like some coffee? Would you like some tea? Would you like some water, right? You can always offer something if you have someone visiting you, or if you are again like the host in a party or any activity, right? And you need to offer things to people. So if that's the situation, this is common. If not, it's not as common, and that's why it can be a little bit hard to think of something. But that's it, that's offers. Now we have invitations. An invitation is similar to an offer, but what is the difference? That you are not offering an action, all right? You're not going to do something for someone. This is just an invitation that you two are going to do together, all right? Like this one, all right? Can you come to my house for dinner? That's an invitation, right? I'm not doing something for you directly. You are going to come here and we both are going to eat together, right? That's an
Mm-hmm.
invitation. So will you come to the dance with me? Invitation. Could you celebrate Chinese New Year with us? Would you like
Mm-hmm.
to go to the cinema? Right? So here you can one more time use can, will, could, would, and mainly would like to talk about invitations. All right. I think that this can be very simple because it's in all invitations. So let's try to use, please, three examples in this case, Leandro, and try to use different models. One example with can, one with will, one with could. It's up to you. So what three invitations can you tell?
Okay. Can you um go to the restaurant with me? Um,
Correct. That's one.
will you um uh, make some exercise? And could you um make the dinner?
Yes, that is correct. Also, just one thing in number two and three. Remember, with exercise, instead of make, you need to say do,
Do.
right? Will you do some exercise? And yes, if you put the context that as an invitation, it is going to be correct, right? For example,
Okay.
you can say, we have this new gym that just opened quite a few days ago. Would you come and do some exercise, let's say here at the gym? So that's going to be an invitation, right? You come do some exercise here and you see how our gym is for you. All right. So in that context,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be an invitation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the last part, can you repeat the last one more time, please? Explaining that I forgot. I don't know if you remember your
Oh,
last example.
well, I don't remember, but could you make the dinner?
Yes. Okay. So good. Also there, right? If you analyze, if you say, could you make the dinner, that can be an invitation in a
Ah,
certain context,
mm,
right? But it feels like you're asking a request, right?
yes. Uh-huh.
So what could it be to make that an invitation instead of a request?
Could you um, um, could you make the dinner with me? Maybe.
Yeah, yes, If you are
Mm,
included there, it's a type of request, but it's also an invitation, right? And
mm-hmm.
also, even to make that even more clear, that's why it's at the end, because this is informal, can, informal, will, could is formal, and would like is very formal,
Very formal.
right? So if
Okay.
you ask something like, would you like to make dinner with me? That's going to even be more clear that it is an invitation. All right, but
Mm-hmm.
again, that's just because of context. If the context is not clear, it's very important that you are very formal so that we know that it's invitation, like would like. But if the context is very clear, any of those is going to work because it's going to be understood. All right, so that's it with invitations. Again, it can be easy. We just need to think which one is the best option over there. And if I'm not wrong, this is going to be the last one, plus some extra thing. Ordering a restaurant, you mainly have two options, right? To say I'll have and to say I'd like, right? I'll and I'd, like I would like or I will have. You can, of course, say other things. There are many, many things you can say, right? I want to have this. But if you say I'll and I'd like, it's always going to be more formal. And that's the language they use in restaurants or any type of place, right, in which you can get a service. So you have the examples there. I'm going to read it this time for you. I'll have a bowl of chicken soup, right? I'd like or I would like is another way to say that. So I'd like sausages and eggs, or I'd like a cup of coffee, please. So let's try to just use two examples, one with I'll and one with I'd like. But what is something that you like to get when you get to a restaurant event?
Okay. Aisle is
Yes, that's
correct.
correct.
Uh,
I'll, it's correct.
I'll have mm, a burger.
That is
And
correct.
okay, I'd like um, a can of soda.
Yes, that's correct. Very good. So it's as easy as that, right? You only mention directly the food or the drink that you want, but also if you want, you can add some extra verbs, right? You can say, I'd like to, right, have this. That's another option, but it's not necessary. But that's it. You have only one more thing with me in this lesson. We're going to go to one more lesson that is very short. That is, do you mind? Would you mind if? All right. And would you mind? This is a very interesting way to ask for something, and it can show that you can use English very well because it's formal and it's complex. All right. And people like to use this. So when you say, do you mind? You use the base form of the verb. It's very easy, right? Like in this example. Do you mind if I join you? Right? You're asking for something. Or do you mind if I close the door? Right? So you're asking for something if the action that you're going to do is not going to bother, is not going to annoy anybody. Right? That's the purpose of do you mind? It's the same with would you mind if, but this is more formal and it's more complex because here you use past, but it's not past, it's present. Okay, you use past because it's subjunctive, it's a form of the conjugation. So would you mind if I joined you? Would you mind if I closed the door? Right? Would you mind if we? So mainly when you use do you mind if and would you mind if, you're going to say I or we. All right. Or even you can talk about a third person, right? But if it's your relative or your friend, right? Would you mind
Mhm.
if my friend sits next to you? Right? Do you mind if my friend sits next to you? Or if it's would, it's going to be, would you mind if my friend sat next to you? Right? Because we need to use the simple past. And finally, would you mind with verb with ing that is the gerund, right? And here it's going to be more of a request. Would you mind join me, right? Would you mind eating with me? Would you mind going, right, to dance with me? So this is more like a request or even an invitation. So with that said, let's give these three examples then. One with do you mind if, one with would you mind if, and the last one with would you mind plus gerund.
Okay. Do you mind if um, um, uh, we play football with you? Um,
Yes. And there also just one little detail. It is correct, but mainly the other person is not always going to be included. But it can be possible, right? You can say, for example, would you mind if we play football here, right? You are using the court, and then
okay.
right, let's say one part, right, half of that court is for people playing one sport, let's say basketball. Okay, let's suppose that it has, right, that,
Mm-hmm.
and the other half is for you and your friends to play football, right? So you can ask, well, do you mind if we play football here in this part of the court? Or again, it can be an invitation, but mainly is for you to do something. And only you and the other person only has to accept to let you do that, but it's not directly going to be part of that act. All right, just that, but
Mm-hmm.
that's good. One more, please. And no, the next one directly. Would you mind if?
Would you mind if uh, I um would you mind if I um uh, sat near you, near to you?
Yes, near you. Near you is going to be enough. Sat near
Mm-hmm.
you. It's correct. You can be close to you, near you, or next to you. Right? So
Okay.
next to and close to is with to, and near doesn't have prepositions.
Okay.
Right? But it's good. And if you also analyze, it feels sometimes like a type of permission. So you can ask many things like, would you mind if I turned on the radio? Right? You want to turn on the radio, but you don't want to bother anybody, right? You want to be sure that everybody's okay with that. Or you
Okay.
can say also, would you mind if I use, right, this plate or this dish? If you know, right, that they are not using that in your kitchen, for
Mm-hmm.
example, you can say, if I use this, or if I use that, or if I turn on this or that, or if I turn off even that, close, open, any action that you want to do, but you want to be sure that the person that is there or the group of people, they are not going to be annoyed by what you're doing. Okay, that's the
Okay.
main purpose of that. Good. One more, please. Would you mind plus the verb with ing?
Would you mind um would you mind playing the guitar?
Yes, playing the guitar, right in the second part. Good. That's like a request, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you can say, right, would you mind playing the guitar for me, or just playing the guitar? That's good. Any type of request or invitation is going to be okay with would you mind plus ing. And that's it. Okay, that's something extra, but you can take this into account whenever you want to ask questions with this purpose. Okay, when you don't want to bother or annoy a person, or when you want to ask for a request in a formal way. But that's it. That's it with this lesson. Remember, please, Leandro, that every lesson that we cover is always going to be here on Google Classroom, right? So if you go to lesson 1, unit 1, you have yesterday's lesson, steady verbs, and now the second lesson that we finished, models of request, is also here. All right, now we're going to finish with this, that is so and such. These are considered as adverbs, and we're going to practice with them, right, in a brief way because it's very short, but we want to be sure that you understand those two words. All right, but before going there, here you also have links if you want to practice more about models. You can go there. And I want to know if you have any questions before going to the next lesson.
No, I don't have questions.
All right, let's go there then so that we can finish with it today. That is so and such. So first, my first question, how do you use these two words? I'm sure that you've listened, right, to these words, that you've read them, and even that perhaps that you use them. So what do you know about so and such?
And so it's for make more maybe, or it's so big, it's so um and the so like entonces, so and like a connection,
That's
and
perfect.
such I don't remember.
Great,
uh,
that's great. But you know a lot about so, and that's great. The first one is the one we're going to cover here. Okay, not the connection, because so can be, you can call that two things. Okay, it can be a coordinating conjunction, or even a very common name. It's not grammatical, it's a fanboy. Okay, a fanboy is going to be a connector, right, of two complete ideas. But that's great. But here we're going to use it as an intensifier. Okay, as you were saying, right, it makes that bigger, it makes that more. It means that the name, grammatical name, is intensifier. And also such. Okay, such
mhm,
is also intensifier. But what is the difference between so and such? That so is going to be used with adjectives, as you said, right? So big, so difficult. Big is adjective, difficult is adjective, right? But such is used for nouns that can also use adjectives, but the main thing is a noun. For example, you can say, right, she is such a beautiful girl. You're using such because you mentioned girl, right? You say she's so beautiful, but you cannot say she's so beautiful girl. She's a so beautiful girl. That's incorrect, right? You have to say
mhm,
she's such a beautiful girl, or this is such a wonderful day, or that's such a great person, or that's such a difficult exam, right? Any time that you want to describe a noun after the intensifier, you have to use such. Okay, so there you have. So with adjectives, such with nouns. But you also use
mhm.
adjectives, but the main thing there is such. Let's read these 4 examples, please, Leandro. And again, you're going to tell me why you use so in the first 2 examples and why you use such in the next 2.
Okay, she's so beautiful, and they are so smart. It is such a beautiful day. He is such a gentleman. Um, so we use so in adjectives, and such for nouns, for persons.
That's
Okay,
correct. Yes, it's correct, and that's enough, right? If you say we use
okay,
so because we have an adjective, correct? We use such because we describe or we intensify what?
describe.
A noun.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, right? So it's both of them then are what? Both are intensifiers because they intensify the meaning that they have, right? So beautiful is like very beautiful, but even more than what you think. right? Or such a beautiful day. It's just giving more emphasis to the idea of that it is a beautiful day, right? So if you say it's a beautiful day and it's such a beautiful day, the only difference is that the such gives more emphasis, right? And it feels that you really think that it's a beautiful day. So it's as simple as that, but we need to practice a little bit. First, let's read. Both, okay, can be used to intensify adjectives, adverbs, and nouns. All right, but we know which one is going to be for adjectives and which one is going to be for nouns mainly. Let us start with so. Very briefly, I'm going to read the first part and you read the examples. It says, use so with an adjective or adverb to make it stronger, right? You make it stronger, you intensify the description of that adjective. So let's read the three examples, please.
Okay. It's so hot today. She looks so young in that photo. He walks so slowly. It's so annoying.
There you go, right? So the ones in green, this is what I care, okay? This is more important to me, the green ones. The purple one is an adjective, an adverb. We're going to practice that, not this class, perhaps the next one if we have the time, but it's something extra, right? An adverb describes an action. An adjective describes a noun, okay? That's why you say you are young, because you're describing a person. But if you say you walk slowly, slowly is describing walk, right? The action. Okay, so that's the main difference. But instead of working on that, let's work on some examples. What are two things that you can tell me, Leandro, that you can intensify in the day that you had today or these days?
Okay. The traffic today is so slowly.
Good. As you're describing the traffic, instead of slowly, it's only going to be slow.
Slow. Okay.
Exactly, because you're describing a noun
It's
that
so
is the
slow.
traffic. Very
Okay.
well. The traffic today is so slow. Good, or was so slow. Perfect. What
Uh,
about one more?
okay. The day was so beautiful.
Yes, that is correct. Just to practice, because we saw the word beautiful before, what word can you use instead of beautiful that gives the same idea?
Mm,
It doesn't have to be a synonym, or just something similar, but not the same.
Beautiful. I don't know.
All right, let's have this in mind, because remember, it's always a good idea to have, let's say, options. You can simply say pretty, right?
Pretty.
The day is so pretty, or even just nice. It's not the same, but it gives the positive idea. You can say pretty, nice, wonderful, amazing, fantastic, right? Again, it's not the same as beautiful, but those are alternatives to say that you like the day.
Okay.
Right? It's always good to have that in mind. So good. Then that's it. So we're going to keep going, but let's see how it goes. Now, this is interesting. Remember that you use so with adjectives, right? But you can also use so with nouns if you say so much and so many. Let's read this with you, please. Everything there.
Okay, and so much and so many. Use so many with countable nouns and so much with uncountable nouns to add intensity to an idea. There were so many people there. We had so much time left.
Very well, right? So if you use so many, you can use nouns, but countable nouns and plural, right? Always plural. So many people, so many students, so many computers, so many friends, so many whatever that you can count. But if you cannot count that, you use much, right? Remember, if you covered once uncountable nouns, remember that uncountable nouns are first liquids, right? All types of liquids, tea, right? So much tea, so much coffee, so much water, so much whatever that is liquid, is going to be uncountable, right?
Uncountable.
Besides liquids, abstract ideas, right? Love, money, time, information, those are abstract ideas, right? So much time, so much information, so much money, right? And also you have like particles. Particles can be very small particles or big particles, like cereal, right? Cereal is particle because you don't count the cereals, right? So much cereal, so much rice, so much noodles, right? So much anything that is not going to be countable. Okay, so liquids, abstract ideas, and particles. Those are the three main things. So with that said, let's give this once again two examples. And one with so many, with a different word that is not people, and one with
Mhm.
so much, with a different word that is not time.
Okay. There were so many cars in the street.
Yes, that is correct. Good. And one with so many, or so much,
Um,
sorry.
okay. I have so much water in my kitchen.
Yes, that is correct. So much water. Remember that you can make the uncountable nouns countable if you use quantifiers, right? You can say, we have so many bottles of water, right? There you can use so many
Mhm.
bottles of water. But in general, if you only want to say water, it is perfect, as we said, right? Because it's liquids. So that's perfect. I believe we're good with that. Let's go to the next part. That is the same. But remember, many and much tell that there's a big quantity of that. But few and little, it's the opposite. And once
Mhm.
again, with few, you work with countable, and with little, you work with uncountable. All right, so let's only read the two examples, please, then.
Okay, and there were so few people there. We had so little time left.
Correct, right? The same examples as before. So let's do the same with you, please. Once again, we're going to change the words. We're not going to use the words you used before, like water, right? Or
Mhm.
cars. Let's give, please, two examples once again. One with so few and one with so little.
Okay. There were so few chairs in the classroom.
Okay, yes, that is correct. It means that it was insufficient, right? It was not enough.
Mhm.
Good.
Yes. And um, we had so little um we had so little information.
That is correct. And you can add something extra. And this is just for you to practice a little bit more. To do what? You had so little information for what or to do what? How can you complement that?
And we had so little information to little information of our new neighborhood.
Okay, yes, it's better instead of, it's good, but if you better if you use about there. About
About
our new neighborhood. Great.
our new neighborhood. Okay.
That's great. Now I'm going to tell you two things and tell me if they are correct. If I say I have so many homework to do.
Um, it's correct.
All right. Why do you believe that it's correct? If I
Uh,
say I have so many homework to do.
mm, homework is not countable, and
Yeah,
you can count the homework.
correct. So if I say so many, then it's incorrect, right? Well, what is the correct way to say that? Because
um,
remember, so many is incorrect, right? Because many is for countable and homework is uncountable, right? So it means that I have so many homework to do is incorrect, right?
mhm.
How would it be the correct form to say that?
So much homework.
So much, exactly. I have so much homework to do. Correct.
Okay.
Now this one, and okay, I'm not going to say anything because this can be tricky. But if I say, they told us so many news that we were overwhelmed. Okay, the second part is not important, but it's the next part. So one more time. They gave us or told us so many news that we were overwhelmed. So is that correct or incorrect?
Is that correct?
Okay, why? Why do you believe that it is correct?
Uh, um, the noun, sorry, news, it's um, countable. It's countable.
All right, okay. Before that, I'm going to tell you one more, and then I'm going to give you the answer. If I say this,
Okay.
I gave you so many advices. I gave you so many advices. What do you say about
So many.
that? And then advices.
Mm, and well, advices. It's so many. It's incorrect, maybe, but I don't know. I'm
All
not
right.
sure.
Okay, and why do you think that it's incorrect? Just try to tell me that, and then I'm going to give you the answers.
The advices. No, it's correct. The advices are countable.
Right? Okay, now
Mhm,
look, there is something again with that logic, with news and
mhm,
advices, right? Many feels good because we have s, right? And
mhm,
advices plural s. So again, in terms of the superficial aspect of that, it seems correct, right? But in terms of grammar, I'm showing you those words so that you can be careful sometimes. News has an S, but actually is uncountable, okay?
Okay.
Because it's impossible to say new. You never say, I have a new for you. No, you always say news. And you never say news like countable. You say some news like uncountable. Okay, so it means that it's not so many news. It has to be so much news. All right, because it's uncountable. Again, it has an S, but it is uncountable. And the thing about advice, actually, it's also uncountable. So it is incorrect because of two things. Because we don't say many with uncountables, and because we never say advices. That's something we only say in Spanish. In English, you only say advice. Okay, you can say a quantifier. You can say, I have two pieces of advice for you, but you never say, I have two advices for you. It's incorrect. Okay, so both of them are going to be then with so little in this case, right? So we were talking about little or much. So you can say so much advice, so much news, or so little news, or so little advice. Okay, because again,
Mhm,
they seem to be plural, but they cannot be plural. They are always uncountable. All
okay.
right, and again, that's just to show you that sometimes some words are going to be a little bit tricky, and they seem to be like that, but it's always good to verify if they are countable or not. All right, just that. Let me see if we're good with time. Good. We're using at least 2 or 3 extra minutes, all right, to work with such so that we finish the lesson. But let me know if you have any questions so far about so, because it was everything about so. All right,
Mm,
no questions?
No, no
Let's keep.
question.
Then such. I'm going to read the first part. With a noun or an adjective plus a noun, right? We use such to make it stronger. The same idea, right? It has the same purpose as so. So let's read these 3 examples, please.
You are such an angel.
Okay,
It's such a hot day today. And they are such lovely boys. I love them.
great. Thank you very much. Now, here there is something important because we already know that. Here, look, if you use such, you have to pay attention to the one that is in purple, right? Because this is the noun. You're using such because of they, not because of hot, right? Because hot is an adjective. You only say so hot, but you're
Mhm,
saying a hot day, so you use such, right? And in this case, day is countable, right? 1 day, 2 days. It means that
Mm-hmm.
you use an article, right? But why are we using here this without a? What do you say? Why are we not using the article a if this is a noun?
Because boys is plural.
Correct, right? So very easy. So it means that if you have people, you are not going to use that one as well, right? Because people is also plural, right? If you have children, children is also irregular, but it's also plural, right? So they are such lovely people. They are such lovely children, right? Even remember that some nouns are plural, but they are irregular. For example, sheep, right? Sheep is an animal, right? Sheep.
Mm-hmm.
And sheep is singular and sheep is plural, right? There is no sheeps, is incorrect. So again,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be careful with some of those words that can be plural, but they don't have s because they are irregular. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, let's try to practice just with 2 examples, please. Give me one example using something in singular and once using something in plural, please.
Okay. You are uh you are such a beautiful person.
That is correct. You're such a beautiful person. And again, just to practice, what extra adjectives can you use instead of beautiful?
Okay. You are such a um, nice person.
Yes, that is correct. Again, it
Mhm.
depends on the meaning, right? If
Mhm.
you're talking about physical appearance, you can say pretty or
Three.
that one, right? But if you're talking about the way of being, you can say again, wonderful, magnificent, fantastic, or nice, right? Anything that gives a positive idea about it can be okay, right? So let's repeat these adjectives, please, Leandro. Let's repeat wonderful, fantastic, and magnificent.
Wonderful, fantastic, and magnificent.
Magnificent. Great. There you go. Again, those are extra things that they can serve you anytime. Now,
Okay.
one with and with plural, please. The same idea.
Okay. Mm, they are such talent girls.
Good. That is correct. Just one thing. Talent is going to be noun. So if you want the adjective of talent, you need to add ed or ing. And here you need to add ed, talented.
Talented. Okay.
Exactly. So one more time, please, with talented.
Okay. And they are such talented girls.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay.
Some remember some are going to be nouns or verbs even. Talent is a noun. To make talent an adjective, you can add ed to describe someone. You are talented. Or ing sometimes, right? For example, what's the difference between ed and ing? Ed is something that you are or you feel. Ing is something that you produce, right?
Okay.
So what is the
Mhm.
difference to finish the class? What is the difference between bored and boring? What do you say? If you say I am bored and I am boring, both are correct. Both are adjectives. But what do you
Mhm.
think is the difference?
Amber is state,
Good?
and boring. It's if I'm boring to people
Correct.
or Mhm.
Or you can continue. What else were you going to say?
No, it's all.
Great. It means that you
That's
produce
all.
that feeling, right?
Mhm.
Great. So with ed, you feel that. With
Okay.
ing, you produce that, right? And that what the way you explained that was perfect. So there you go. That's everything in general. And again, there are some extra things I would like you to see, all right, on your own. Here you have how you can use these with results. right? What is that? It was so cold that there's a consequence. He was
Mm-hmm.
such a good teacher that there's a consequence. Okay, so
That.
it means that anytime you use so and such as intensifiers, you can talk about a consequence after that to give a more complete idea. All right, so that we see what is the result of that thing or of that person being like that. All right, and that's again something extra. Take a look at that if you got the time. And once again, you have extra links here to practice. So I don't know, once again, if you have any comments or questions before finishing today. Let me know, please.
No, I don't have questions. Thank you.
Great. Now there you go. That's good to know. So just a quick reminder, I'm sending the survey. Okay, the poll, it's over there. As you're
Okay.
answering, please remember that you have until tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. to complete the assignments for Unit 1 and to take quiz number 1 as well. Okay, but tomorrow we start with the second unit if everything is clear.
Okay.
There you go. So that's it. Thanks for being in today's class, Leandro. I hope you have a good night and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
See
See
you
you.
tomorrow.
See you. Bye bye.